Why, hello there. Good meowing, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, thank you so much for stopping by and welcome to this video. Omegaverse, a genre with humble origins, tracing back to an innocuous 2010 kink meme prompt to a now sprawling verse with, as of the time of this recording, over 212,000 publicly available fan works on AO3 alone. Not to mention the hundreds of thousands of books, manga, and indie works. The basis of now defunct Wolfpack psychology has become a stand-in for ways to explore real-world axes of oppression, and also just for pure not safe work fun. This isn't the video for exploring the intricacies of Omegaverse and how different people position their universe in the general framework of the genre. Though I have offered an Omegaverse lecture as a goal for multiple birthday streams now. So I'll be assuming you already know the basis of Omegaverse for this review. If you don't, good luck! The two books I'll be reviewing today are Heat X Beat, I May Be an Omega, but I'm Going to Be an Idol, and Heat X Beat, A Shut-in Omega Becomes an Idol by Ken Homerun. Both of these books are rated M for mature content, so if that's not your cup of tea, see you later. My Miller Rose and Yawns will know just how much Omegaverse means to me as a part of my queer journey, as well as just a genre I really enjoy. I was browsing the Tokyo Pop store with their announcement of their Pride Month discount and charity donations and saw that they had Omegaverse manga. I actually had no clue up until this point that any Omegaverse manga had been officially licensed in English. I'd only ever seen it in scanlations. So, with joy in my heart, I clicked purchase. I bought two other manga, which will have videos specific to them coming out later. Since these two works were by the same author in the same verse, I thought it best to record them together. Starting us off, Heat X Beat, I May Be an Omega, but I'm Going to Be an Idol. Our back blurb is, all his life, Asahi has worked hard to become an idol, even hiding his status as an Omega. His dreams finally seem to be within reach when he's chosen as a member of the boy band B-Marks. But there's just one catch. One of the other band members, Madoka, is an alpha, and their animal instincts immediately draw them together. Asahi isn't about to let some pesky hormonal urges distract him from his idol duties, though. He doesn't want to let his fan base down by becoming involved with one of his bandmates. However, Madoka isn't the rough and arrogant alpha he expects, and their initial attraction soon becomes something more. As rumors swirl about their involvement, can Asahi let himself accept Madoka's protective care without losing everything he's worked so hard to achieve? Ooh. Also on the back is a list of warnings, which are Omegaverse, obviously, sexual harassment, dubious consent, and explicit sexual content. My first impressions are that it appears that based on the first page of the manga, our black-haired kitty on the cover is Asahi, and the white-haired wolf is Madoka. I'm really hoping for a sweet, doting alpha and kind of prickly, tsundere-ish Omega pairing, which, based on the cover and the blurb, is the vibe I'm getting, so fingers crossed. Since this is an idol story as well, I'm hoping to see some beautiful outfits for the main characters. I adore idol performance outfits, so I'm, selfishly excited for that. I'm going to try to keep my review non-spoilery and chapter by chapter. So apologies that it'll be kind of vague in some spots, but you know what you should do? You should go buy the books yourself and read them and figure out what I'm talking about. It's like a reverse mystery. Yeah, reverse mystery. We'll go with that. Instantly, we get a taste test of some staple tropes in chapter 1. Upon meeting our dear Omega, Asahi goes into heat. We also get to see Ken Homerun's Omegaverse functions similarly to most, with Omegas being a highly desired class sexually, but being heavily biased against in the workplace. I wonder what that's an analogy for. I'm thinking that this might be a bit of a fast burn, as these two are getting kind of close and comfy, or at least Madoka is. And it appears my assumption of Madoka being a sweet, doting alpha are likely correct. We get to see some of the idol outfits too. They're definitely sticking to more masculine silhouettes and such, and with an even split between lighter and darker outfits, it's super interesting. The other two members of the band seem to be a bunny and another cat. So it appears this world is not just feline and canine hybrids. Chapter 2 starts with us seeing a bit of the boys' daily lives, and yep, Madoka is exactly as doting as I thought he would be. I think I also got Asahi's personality pretty spot on too, a little tsundere cat boy. Don't I know those types? Madoka is more clingy than I would have thought, but it's pretty cute to see a top being so lovey-dovey spittin'. And once again, Asahi's in heat, which makes me think that in this universe, heat is a monthly thing, like a period. Which sucks. Poor Asahi. Having to deal with that monthly? Ugh. Madoka really wants to take care of his little kitty cat. But he's not allowed. Though I am 100% certain if there wasn't a door between them that Asahi would have just jumped Madoka by now. And Madoka just keeps proving why he should be chosen. Like, oh my god, perfect man. Asahi, if you're not going to have him, move aside, I will. We also get a hint of the love conflict in this chapter, and ooh, they can't resist each other. It's exciting. In chapter 3, we get to see some of the rival idol group, Tyrant. And instantly, I'm getting some vibes about them. They really remind me of Zool from Idolish 7, because these are definitely some antagonistic idols. When we're back with Asahi and Madoka, though, it's cuteness overload and then drama. And finally, full body idol outfits. I mean, full body-ish. They're not focused on the outfits, but I am. The actual split of the outfits is different than I first assumed. It's not that there are easily too dark and too light outfits. Asahi's outfit is just different from all the others, I guess because he's center. It's much darker than the other dark outfits. And he seems to be the only one who's actually using black and not just what I assume is a darker color. I mean, this manga's in black and white, but I could assume that they're using like a dark blue or like a maroon red or something. But yeah, no, Asahi's is just black. The taller members have like half capes over one shoulder, but the shorter members have the half cape as like a belt accessory, probably to tie it all in. So they all technically have the same accessories. It's just, positioning. But all together, it's pretty cute and very obvious that Asahi is the center. That's our boy, go Asahi. Right at the beginning of chapter 4, though, we find out that we're going to be seeing more of Tyrant. And they are definitely up to something. At this point, I am certain that they are up to something. But we do get to see Asahi finally starting to catch some feelings. Finally. Even the other members are like, yeah, you two are good together. One of the members of Tyrant we learn is named Hijiri, which, upon reading, I just connected to the fact that it is one of the characters mentioned in the other book's blurb. So, yay, correct, those two take place in the same universe. Also, Hijiri's just an asshole. Protect your man, Madoka. We get a little sneak peek at some hinted sexy times between the boys, and then more relationship drama! Just admit you like each other, you sillies. The chapter ends on a tense note, but the drama is going to be coming to a head soon. Yeah, at the beginning of chapter 5, it takes full stage. But our boys are just cute as ever together. This chapter is where the sexual harassment warning comes into play, so please be careful if you need to be. Asahi is a fighter. Things don't get worse, thankfully. They're still not great, but it could have been much worse. Hijiri continues to be a weirdo that I can't read. He's like the epitome of hot and cold. Helping, not helping. What's your deal, Hijiri? Poor sweet Asahi just continues to get shit thrown at him, though. He really fucking needs a break. But his band members are there for him. And that includes Madoka, who is there for him in other ways. Also, goddamn, Hijiri is back again. Why are you here? Why are you giving advice? I still don't trust you. But also, we have 2 panels of lesbians. Hello, background lesbians. Asahi has his big moment. And damn, I forgot how savage Idol fans can be. These girls are ready to fucking rip Asahi apart for even daring to touch their precious idol man. But Madoka, sweet, pure Madoka, rushes to Asahi's rescue. It's definitely an adorable scene, but I always can't help but wonder what would I do if I were in such a situation. The answer is combust. Spontaneous cat elf combustion. There would only be ashes remaining. And then wonderful concert, and you might be wondering, where are Asahi and Madoka? Well, let's just say I feel for the janitorial staff. And then they're together. They get together. They're so cute. They're so cute. And the little after story pages are just freaking adorable as well. Poor boys just want some time to themselves, but their bandmates say no. All right, time for the overall review. I feel like this is definitely an 8 out of 10 in my opinion. I wish the sexual assault scene wasn't in there. There's multiple things that could have occupied that plot beat instead, so that's a ding against the book. As well, I felt like Tyrant was introduced in a way that really set them up to be villains. I was suspicious of these boys. But then not only were they not villains, Hijiri kind of waffled between hindering and helping Asahi with a kind of sort of like, I'm doing this for myself attitude that, I'll be honest, I didn't quite get. That's maybe due to the fact that it's a one-shot and didn't have multiple books to spread the development across. Maybe if there was more time, Tyrant would have definitely been more antagonistic. But I definitely felt they came hard out of the gate with like, we're evil. And then they went, maybe not. But what if we weren't? Which felt a little interesting. Blessings! I did feel like Asahi and Madoka had some good romantic chemistry and tension between them, which is always helpful. Nothing worse than characters that you're just like, these two don't like each other, actually. I was also pretty spot on with my initial thoughts about their dynamic. Though I'm really glad Madoka seemed to be very self-aware. And he was self-aware enough to not be constantly crossing Asahi's boundaries, which is a problem that a lot of like golden retriever or doting dog boy type characters have, and it's a pet peeve of mine. But Madoka doesn't fall into those, thank God. Overall, this was a great read. It was bite-sized enough that it didn't drag on at all, and long enough that actually we got some good relationship dynamic development. I do recommend picking it up, even if you're not really used to Omegaverse, as, you know, even if you don't know all that much, the plot is still really enjoyable to read. You don't really have to know as much about Omegaverse. It's not a deep dive into the, how Omegaverse works in this universe. It's just kind of like some backdrop settings. But yeah, 8 out of 10. Secondly, we have Heat X Beat, a shut-in Omega becomes an idol. Our back blurb is, as an Omega abandoned by his betrothed alpha mate, shut-in Minoru shares his heartbreak with the world in the form of music. But when one of his songs catches the attention of famous idol Hijiri, Minoru is suddenly swept from the lonely solitude of his room and thrust into the spotlight. As an Omega idol and music producer, performing alongside his 2 alpha bandmates, Eiji and Tatsuya. But Eiji is hiding a secret of his own, a connection to Minoru's past that might shatter the tentative trust and affection that's been growing between them. Like the first, the back also has a list of warnings. There are explicit sexual content, Omegaverse, obviously, dubious consent, and arranged marriage. Interesting to see that as a warning. My first impression, without having read the other manga, this was written, I wrote down my impression before I read the first one, is that I think both Minoru and Eiji are possibly wolf hybrids. I can't say for certain. They don't really seem to be... The ear shapes are the same. So it makes me think that whatever they are, they're both it. And like the previous one's impression, I'm hoping that we get sweet and shy Omega and head over heels Alpha, but sensing there's going to be some tension and possibly even some angst. Just like the first one, I'm going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible as I go through each chapter. I highly do recommend you pick this book up for yourself and reverse mystery it. What am I talking about? Read the book and find out. Chapter 1 opens with a first look at Minoru. Poor dear. And then Hijiri. Hijiri is doing Hijiri things. This man is a chaotic whirlwind, and I'm still really uncertain how I feel about him. Hijiri, you are on thin ice. Poor Minoru gets completely sucked up in Hijiri's tornado of thoughts and ends up becoming an idol. Whoopsies! Poor dear did not go into this with that expectation. He just wanted to make music. He does clean up really well, I will give that to Hijiri. He becomes, not that he wasn't cute originally, but he becomes even more cute. We also learn a bit more about Minoru that makes me just want to bundle him up in a blanket and protect him from the world. Oh, he's so precious, and he's gone through so much. I will say Hijiri has a horrible taste for idol group names, though. I'm holding that against him. I will never forgive him for that. What the fuck is their idol group name? I would never want to say that out loud, so I won't. And Minoru keeps getting put in positions where he deals with so fucking much. Someone protect this man. Also, hey, remember how in the overall review of the previous book, I was talking about how golden retriever boys are often portrayed as not respecting boundaries? Oh boy. Chapter 2 sees our boys getting some limelight. And of course, Eiji's being sweet and unaware of personal space. And Minoru is understandably snippy and snarky. He's really reminding me of Asahi so far, and I think my initial guesses for his personality are gonna be kinda off. Hijiri continues to be Hijiri, though. This man, I don't even know how to describe his character other than Hijiri is Hijiri. Whew. Wow. Also, compared to Madoka, Eiji is more forward with his flirting, though Minoru still brushes it off with some witty one-liners. We also get a bit more about Minoru's history, hinted and explained, and I'm already starting to feel like I might call Eiji's secret, but I won't say anything in case I get it wrong. We get to see more Minoru Gatmo, cute, and Hijiri being surprisingly protective of this cutie. Oh. And of course, Eiji is our star though, so he'll go save our lost little puppy. And end up flirting with him, as absolutely everyone saw coming. This chapter ends with a hint of the drama, and really starting to think that my guess for Eiji's secret might be right. Starting with a bang, chapter 3 shows a bit of the boys' daily lives as idols, and then cuts to, you guessed it, more of Eiji flirting and Minoru verbally sparring with him. I can only guess that something really big will happen to push them together, because even by this point, the relationship seems really one-sided. Of course, I then immediately take that back. And my initial guess of the secret might have been wrong, but also kind of right. Oh well, they're about to make out, so I can muse about the secret all I want. We do get more info, again, about Minoru and his mysterious former alpha, which seems to be usual sort of high-class society stuff. So far, this verse is a very classic Omegaverse feel, which I always enjoy. God, yeah, I grew up on classic Omegaverse. I don't like that sentence, so I'm not gonna touch that again. And though I was right about my guess of Eiji's secret. More or less right. But it's interesting how they've tied it into the first book. It's a nice little Easter egg. Which if you only read this one instead of also the first one, you won't catch that connection. But if you read the first one and then this one, you'll catch the connection. And then Eiji's weird. He just gets weird. End chapter. We're right into the action in chapter 4 with a flashback revealing the secret, which poor Minoru has overheard. It also appears that Hijiri didn't intend for this to happen. He actually looks pretty upset, which is interesting because once again, Hijiri is being Hijiri and switching between hot and cold and antagonistic and helpful. Sir, please decide which side you're going to be on, because I feel like he's just whiplashing me back and forth. But also, Eiji and Minoru have a pretty public fight. And then Minoru just faints. He keeps getting put in, like, shitty situations. And then enter Asahi. Hi, sweetie pie. Welcome back. Look, he's only here for a few moments. The boys head home, and then, what's this? Minoru? Are you starting to see Eiji as an alpha now? Oh. Minoru needs a fucking break. Okay. I know I said fucking break, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can have a fucking break. Enjoy yourselves, boys. Again, chapter 5, and the boys are facing the consequences of not preparing for sex beforehand. Hijiri looks like he's gonna have a migraine and explode. And I still don't know whether I want him to do so. Do I want to see this man in a fine mist? Or is he okay? I still don't know. Hijiri he's got me. I'm way more focused on Hijiri because I can't pin him down and it's bugging me. Though while there is a lot more background pairings in this book than I ever would have guessed, idols say gay rights. And Hijiri continues to be weird, but he's kind of growing on me. Like a strange little Hijiri-sized tumor. He's wild. He's wacky. He seems to both care and not care about other people. I've decided I need to see him wrecked. Moving on. Eiji continues to be both extremely sweet and extremely awkward. At this point, they're neck and neck. He says nice things to cheer Minoru up, then says things like, what happened last night was an accident, but it was a dream come true. Eiji really has a high bar to hit compared to Madoka, and he is not hitting it, in my opinion. He's not hitting it. Also, we get to see a little bit more of Minoru's ex-fiancé, and it looks like the guy he ran away with might be an alpha. I kind of wish we got any information at all about how same secondary gender pairs work in this universe. Like, is it stigmatized? Is it accepted, but only if it's alpha alpha? Only if it's omega omega? Are we getting into like the are we getting into like kind of hand wavy looks at like lesbian fetishism? Like, oh, an omega is okay, but only if they're having sex? I really wish we got any information about that, but we don't, so oh well. And then it's the final chapter. I'm interested in seeing how they end things with Minoru and Eiji's relationship. As at this point in the other book, Asahi and Madoka were very obviously into each other. On the other hand, Minoru and Eiji feel like they're kind of back to square one in their relationship with the reveal of Eiji's secret, but like kind of not, but still behind where Asahi and Madoka were. We do get to see full bodies of their idol outfits, and it's just streetwear. Maybe I'm more into idol concepts with more elaborate costumes, but having them just in streetwear doesn't do anything for me at all. Where's the frills, the shimmer, the member-specific colors? Why is this idol man wearing a hoodie and jeans? Outfit outcome? Disappointing. We do get some more Minoru internal dialogue and gasp, surprise, unwanted visitor in the crowd. Ex-fiance has appeared. I'm kind of surprised that Minoru was able to see one person in such a huge crowd, but you know what? I could probably pinpoint a person I didn't want to see out of a crowd too, so you know what? Understandable. Ex-fiance is then about to leave, but Hijiri and the manager approach and make him stay? I'll be honest, at this point, I was a little confused. But also, remember what I mentioned in the last chapter about how the ex-fiance seemed to be with another alpha? Yes, I was right. Nice to see some same secondary gender pairs. A bottom alpha. And then sudden relationship development. Blessings again. The bonus chapter is a bit of things from Eiji's perspective, which explains a few things about how he got to the beginning of the story. Overall, this is a much weaker story compared to the first book. I definitely feel like it needed some more time to develop Minoru's and Eiji's relationship. The reveal of Eiji's secret would have tanked any relationship. Like, really tanked it. So for them to just immediately jump past it felt a little rushed. I understand this is a one-shot and it's shorter than the first book, but I really feel like the story just needed a little bit more time to breathe. Even prior to Eiji's secret being revealed, Minoru was still learning to tolerate Eiji. And I thought this would have ended on a more, we're working to get to know each other fully now that everything's on the table. We still, want to be together, but let's take things slow kind of note. Minoru jumps from being a very shy, very nervous character to a kind of Asahi-like Spitfire, to a kind of mopey type, and then finally ending in confident. Again, I really feel like this is a place where it not being a one-shot would have done this series of changes some good. They're big changes, and to not have much time between them was like, whew. Eiji, as well, feels a little bit one note. He's fixated on Minoru. Once a secret was revealed, I would have loved to see him have some sort of crisis of identity. Like, why am I actually here? Do I actually want to be here? Am I just here for Minoru? I would like him to think about it instead of just going, Minoru's over there. That's where I'm going. Also, he hurt Minoru, the person he loves with his everything. Really badly hurt him. And this bitch just goes along like it's nothing. But again, I think the one-shot status kind of kicked in the kneecaps for this kind of character growth. All in all, it's not a bad story by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that in comparison to the first book, it's weaker. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Passing grade, but not much higher. But yeah, that's it for this review video. If you're interested in picking up these titles, which I hope you are, you can find them on the Tokyo Pop store under the Love Love imprint. Thank you everyone so much for stopping by. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to see you again soon. If you're interested in watching me stream games, you can find me here on YouTube or over on Twitch, also Prince Vtube, on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. Sometimes I have midweek streams, but those are my usual days. But yeah, you all know the usual song and dance. If you're not already following me on social media, I'd appreciate very much if you would. As well, if you're not already part of our Discord server, I would love to see you there. We have a lot of fun. Link is in the description. Yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. And well, without any further ado, bye-bye.